What's up, YouTube? We got a yo-yo review to do today. This is the One Drop Yoyos Virtuoso. So, the One Drop Yoyos Virtuoso is the signature model of Mr. Ethan Cheng. Ethan is a top 10 world's competitor. I think he placed, I think he actually placed 10th. In Worlds last year, because I was doing some research and watching his freestyle. Great player to watch, clearly great performance, but lots of artistry, which is a big one-drop thing. And this is his signature yo-yo. This is the newest release from One Drop. One Drop's releasing a lot of yo-yos this year, and that couldn't make me any happier. I love One Drop yo-yos, and I'm actually one behind. I need to go back and get the last one. But let's get into the specs. Weight, 64.7 grams. Width is 45.3 millimeters. Diameter is 56.6 millimeters. Comes flow groove response pads and one drop 10 ball bearing. It is a 70-75 aluminum. I think the solid colors are more bead blasted. They don't necessarily bead blast as much the splashes, but the solid colors you can see are very bead blasted. Which I think the One Drop Bead Blast is just phenomenal. Here it is on my overture. But to bring out the splash, they just use the pure matte finish, I think. So let's get into it. How's this yo-yo play? Phenomenally. So looking at it, you kind of get a little bit of Format C, except it's a little more rounded over here, a little easier to catch. Very minimalist cup design. I'm actually going to make another comparison to the One Drop Code 2. That was sort of my first thought on first throw, is that like this it's got a very similar power to the Code 2. That's probably the best way to put it. However, it's almost got a sort of floatiness to it. Not floatiness like in the sense of like the Grail necessarily, but like kind of a little bit more overture type of floatiness to it, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the way that the rims are designed. All the power is not necessarily packed onto the edge here. It's sort of dispersed down the sort of wing a little bit more. Like it does get a little thicker up at the top, and this is 70-75 aluminum, so it is heavier up here and much thinner down here. But it kind of just disperses that weight just enough to get it just a little bit floatier, and I really like that. It's very pleasing to play, actually. This is a really great yo-yo to play. You would think, most of the time you think of competition yo-yos as kind of a little stiff and not necessarily super chill or super fun to play. Not to say this is a chill yo-yo or anything like that, but it's a little something for everybody kind of a yo-yo. You know what I mean? It's like not necessarily, like it's, yes, clearly a competition yo-yo, but at the same time, like, if you played it every day and were just like, I just enjoy this yo-yo because it's just really good, and it feels like kind of nice and light and floaty on the string, like it's there for you too. Really like that about this yo-yo, and I really think that this particularly is kind of a little step away from what One Drop generally does, but it's still very One Drop at its core, which I'm very much a fan of. I'm a big One Drop fan. I've got a ton of them, and this is a very welcome addition to the collection. Was very excited and happy to pick this up. I actually really liked this color a lot. I know they were all like NQPs, although they didn't put the NQP on this, but I think all this color were NQPs, and I don't know. I don't see any problem with it. It looked great to me. So very excited to have it. But that's enough of me just kind of gushing about it. Let's go ahead and throw it around a little bit. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right. Thing you notice about the Virtuoso is, despite, having super long spin times and lots of stability, everything you would expect in a competition, model, it's, like I said, it's just got a little bit of like float to it. Like it kind of feels almost, I don't know, you don't feel all the power, you know what I mean? But it's still powerful and stable, so you sort of get the best of both worlds. Not the best speed player, but can handle some speed. Easy to catch. Solid response. Spins a long time, and it's like that's. It spins a really long time, and that's kind of the nice thing. One of the nice things about it is because a lot of one drops aren't necessarily super competition-y and don't necessarily have the longest spin times, and they don't really do bimetals. But this is just great. Like, really, really, really like the Virtuoso. Let's go ahead. On the blasted ones, you're going to have an easier time finger spinning. But this ain't bad. Minimalist cup design, really nothing to get in your way. There is a step in there, so you're not going to have much problem horizontal. Although, if you're going to play horizontal with it, you're probably going to want to put a bearing in here that's not flat to kind of keep the string drag down, keep the string from dragging on the response pads. But it could definitely handle it. Very smooth yo-yo as well. All one-drop yo-yos are really smooth. Like, there's absolutely no vibe in this yo-yo at all. It's perfect precision machining, which is kind of a one-drop thing. Mine is not super blasted, like I said, but the more blasted, the solid colors are more blasted and will grind better. But this grinds fine. No complaints. It looks beautiful. So if I lose a little bit of grind, just because I decided to go with a splash, no harm. No harm, no foul. I like it still. I mean, nothing to get in the way of your rejections or... Comes off the string like really smooth too. Like that's kind of one of the things I think that one drop really does a lot of good in paying attention to is that the yo-yo comes off the string smoothly. You don't ever get that ping or anything like that. You just comes off and it's ready to go. Really like that. Really just like how that feels. And that's really more of a feel on the string thing than it is something I can show to you in a review. But just know, feels good. I don't even kind of really want to stop throwing it either. I just kind of want to play. But let's go ahead. I'll take it apart, show you guys the insides and all of the cool nuances of the Virtuoso. All right, let's take this bad boy apart and do pros and cons, shall we? Okay. As you can see here, came apart beautifully. You would expect one drops to come, to be machined better than anybody else because they just are. Nice step right there. It's nice and rounded over, so it doesn't catch on anything. It's really meant to kind of reduce your string drag. So if you're playing horizontally, you've got the nice step there, so you're not dragging on the whole yo-yo. Really a very standard sort of competition-y thing, but this is really done with a lot of thought and attention to detail. It rounds over ever so slightly, and that really helps when it comes off the string. Flow groove response pads are some of my favorites. I feel like they're not snaggy and they respond the way I want them to. I'm very used to them. I've used them for the entire time almost that I've been yo-yoing unresponsive, and they're great. In every yo-yo, they're great. Even non-one drops, but of course in one drops, they're designed for them. One drop, flat 10 ball bearing, spins a long time, spins quiet. Once you get the shriek out, there's a lot of protectants and stuff in here, and it starts quiet, starts to shriek. Once the shriek kind of wears out, or usually if you clean it and lube it, that's usually what I do when it starts to shriek. I clean it and I lube it and I air blast it all out, and smooth, silent, great. Love the one drop 10 balls. I pretty much never change them. Pretty much just keep them in my one drops. Very rarely would I take them out, unless they get too dirty or something, to break them or something like that. But I think that's happened like once in like a lot of one drops. I have almost all of them, so one out of whatever 30 or 40 ain't bad. Yeah, just a really nicely designed, nicely machined. My only sort of qualm, and it's not really a qualm, is that the axle is pretty short. It's only 8 millimeters, which isn't necessarily, like, you know, unheard of. It's actually pretty common in most other... Usually one-drops have a little bit longer axles, but this is 70-75 aluminum. I don't think anything's going to strip, and it's machined perfectly, so, you know, no real threat of cross-threading or stripping or anything. It's just a little bit shorter axle than I'm used to in one-drops, but it is what it is. Splashes look good. All of them look good. Like I said, this was an NQP. This is one of my favorite colors. It's kind of like that pumpkin colorway a little bit, and I've got a Kraken that's sort of this color. It's a little more muted as well. I think this is just really good. It's like gold with purple and green. It looks good. It looks really, really good. But all the splashes are awesome looking, and the solid colors too. It comes in, God, a ton of colors. There's a ton of them out there, and I mean, it's really, really just so cool. All right, let's do pros and cons. Pros, it's a one-drop, dead smooth, really, really just a nice variety of colorways and just finishes and everything else for it. Made in America, I love that, you know, and you can always get right in touch with Sean and David, or, you know, you meet their guys that work there. I've met Will Prater several times. He even came to East Coast Masters this year. It was great to have dinner with Will. Love the One Drop guys. What a great group of just human beings. Not even just yo-yo players and yo-yoers or people in the yo-yo community. Human beings. Wonderful people. You know, it starts at $78.99, which is, for a signature one drop, pretty solidly priced. I mean, this is a good price for a good yo-yo. 70-75 aluminum, made in America. Solid colors are blasted and look great and will handle your competition-y stuff. So if you love one drops, you're like, man, there aren't that many that I'm like really into for competition. This is the next competition one drop, and this I feel like really steps it up. It's nice and wide. It's got a nice big diameter. This hangs with every competition yo-yo that I can think of that's come out lately. That's not necessarily a bimetal, but it's close. I mean, I wouldn't say that a bimetal player would have any specific advantage over this, because it is really really stable, really long spinning, great shape. It's really comfortable on the catch too. Cons, not really any. I mean, you can't thumb grind, really. There's no lip for that. That's maybe all I can think of. Even finger spins are okay on it, because you got really nothing to stop you. It's not going to like lock it in. I wouldn't say this is like your finger spin monster yo-yo, but there's a bazillion of those. Don't buy this for that. Yeah, really no complaints, you know, other than a couple specific design choices that don't put it into like, this can do all of your funny finger spin and thumb grind tricks. It's fine for those. You can you can figure them out, but it's not going to be your favorite thumb grind finger spin yo-yo. That's literally it. Otherwise, this is fantastic. I haven't really put it down very much. I haven't had a need to like bust out other yo-yos or open a case really since it showed up, and I feel like this showed up on Saturday, so I've been playing this for almost a week now. Love it. It's really great. They knocked it out of the park. That shouldn't be surprising. Anything that One Drop puts out, knocked out of the park. And it's a signature yo-yo too, which, you know, always injects a little bit of the player as well. But the One Drop Virtuoso is a definite winner. One of my favorite yo-yos thus far this year. It really takes the kind of straight up competition yo-yo, but also makes it interesting. And like I said, a little bit floaty on the string almost, which is, it's just cool. It's really cool. I would really suggest trying one out. Oh, also check those ridges out in there. These are like cool. It just aesthetically looks good too. Great yo-yo. Love it. Shout out to the guys at One Drop for knocking it out of the park yet again. Love those guys. Love this yo-yo. And make sure you check it out. Links are down in the description for where you can find it. And that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers to you. I'll see you next time.